Happy Monday, and welcome to the Weekly Noodle, the official podcast of Spaghetti Records. Each week, we feature a different Spaghetti Records recording artist and give you a look behind the scenes at the writing, recording, and creative process. I'm Bill, and today I am joined in the studio by Ben of the band Red Herring to talk about the track The Climb off of Red Herring's second album, A Quarter Down and Just Getting Started. How we doing, Ben?
Doing fantastic.
Awesome. So this track, The Climb, I like it. I gotta say, it's a fun track, but it's more than just fun. It's interesting on different levels. I like the lyric, the instrumentation, the change that kind of hits you when the chorus comes in. Can you give us a little bit of background about the song, just in general, where it came from and what was going on with the band at the time and how it all came to be?
Absolutely. See if I can remember back that far. That's the first thing to go.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So the album title is A Quarter Down and Just Getting Started, and that very on the nose was meant to talk about kind of the feeling of a quarter life crisis that I felt I was going through at the time. And I bring that up because The Climb really hit on that more than maybe a lot of or any of the other tracks.
I mean, it seems like a breakup song, maybe in part at least. Is that accurate?
I like that music can always be interpreted in different ways by the listener. No breakup about it, except to, I was at a point where I was just feeling like a failure.
I see.
No, in line with any life crisis, I was feeling like, what am I doing with my life? I've really gotten behind in so many ways, and where am I at? What do I have to show? And feeling at the time like, I'd gotten where I was for some bad habits, trying to get some, quick fixes to things, and realizing that the quick fixes don't usually ever work out.
Okay, I see. Well, and I like that, you said, I agree. I think good songs are ambiguous a lot of the time, and you can get different things from them. The opening line when you first come in, I like the line where you mentioned it's something to the effect of you're swimming in the tears you've been crying. And I like subtlety in lyrics too. And whether or not this is what you intended, I thought there was a little bit of actually a hopeful message in that you're not drowning in the tears you've been crying, you're swimming. So regardless of how you were feeling at the time, it seems like you were trying to persevere and push through, and maybe turning it into a cool song was part of that.
Yeah. Perseverance is that's the word for this song. It is a hopeful song, and a lot of the lyrics are kind of a little witty, double entendre, sort of fun. Had some fun with the lyrics there, but it was all of how I was feeling at the time. Like, gosh, this is where I've gotten myself, but hey, it's time to climb out of where I'm at, and that's a hopeful message. I think start the climb now and head move forward.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. Why don't we go ahead and let the people hear The Climb by Red Herring.
Trying to get out of this hole I've been digging, but it's all gone muddy. 'Cause now I'm swimming in the tears I've been crying. 'Cause it's a pity this party's only got one person, and that's me. And I've been waiting on a golden ticket, but the factory's closed, so I guess I'll have to win it on. Shoes shine over time, type of ethic, but I ran out of that right before I never had it. And I don't wanna be a case of wasted potential. And golden shine, placed and tarnishing over time. So I dig my heels into the ground, and I'm counting my days stepwise now. But I'm stepping out. taking over my closet space. I think they should have a coming out party. They could use the fresh air, and I could use the space. If I could tie them loose and seem to be so afraid. It's a shame I quit the Boy Scouts in the 5th grade, and it's hard to get exactly what you're after when you feel like you're playing the part of an actor. And I don't wanna be a case of wasted potential and golden child, complacent and tarnishing over time. So I dig my heels into the ground, and I'm counting my days stepwise now, but I'm stepping down, and I look down at the road ahead, and I chuckle as I lift my head. This climb could take a while. I hope you'll be there when I'm done. So I dig my heels into the ground, and I'm counting my days stepwise now, but I'm stepping down, and I look down at the road ahead, and I chuckle as I lift my head. This climb could take a while. So I dig my heels into the ground, and I'm counting my days stepwise now, but I'm stepping down.
Man, that is a cool track. I like kind of the there's a bit of a juxtaposition there between the verse and the chorus. When the chorus comes in, the distortion on the guitar really kicks in, and you have all those kind of just big rock chords with some cool drum fills going on. Not, it's not what I would call like a loud, soft sort of song, but it definitely gets a little bit of that vibe too, where you take a cool turn when it gets to the chorus. That's a cool element to the song. And cool guitars. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, that was intentional, that juxtaposition of both lyrical and sonic sort of differences side by side. The verse is really more poppy and kind of sort of slightly witty, funny lyrics in the verse, and the chorus is a little more epic, a little bigger, a little more serious message. So I really did want to make those be a stark distinction.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's cohesive that the lyric and the music both kind of take that turn at the chorus. And cool guitar and cool instrumentation in general. I like how in every verse there's a little something different thrown in. Maybe somewhere midway through the song, accompanying the verse is some kind of lead guitar. I would describe almost as kind of country-ish sounding. I didn't really see that coming. That was a cool effect. Is that you playing the guitar there?
Yeah. Yep. That's me laying that down. And gosh, it's hilarious how much I'm drawn to that style of lead playing for someone who all growing up wore like a badge of honor how much I hate country, but the country guitar playing I have a lot of respect for, and probably in secret dark places and rooms I could be caught listening to some form of country, but yeah, that is me. And yeah, I love that style of playing, is kind of cuts through and is fun and a little lyrical.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely used to good effect on the climb. Well, and why don't we just real quick, who is on this track? Can you tell us real quick who's the personnel on the climb?
Yes. Now, you mentioned when we were a working band, and we were playing out quite regularly, and at one point we were a 5-piece group, myself on lead vocals and guitar, and Dave Bartkowiak on bass. We had a couple of drummers over the course of the band. Ethan Link was the primary and original drummer, and then after he left the group, our friend Jeff took over, and then Casey. Casey was a friend of ours who had hopped in. She was harmony vocals, which had some really cool stuff on the album. But as far as recording goes, this track at the time, it was Jeff on drums, Dave on bass, and Casey on the female harmony vocals.
Okay.
And then I did everything kind of else, so, kind of guitar, and then I played as well as programmed some like organ, strings, piano, all of that.
Very cool. So is that you on the piano then on this song? That's another thing that definitely stood out to me. Getting toward the end of it, there's some chops there on the piano solo. That was pretty cool. Another thing I didn't necessarily see coming. Is that you as well playing the piano there?
Yeah, that's one of the fun things about being in the studio and recording is it kind of emboldens you to try things you wouldn't live. Like I had this idea for a piano solo in my head, and we had, our buddy Alan who played in the band. He's a real piano player, and Casey is pretty good at piano, and then there's me who is not. But I was the one that was in the studio at the time, and I had the idea, and I just, the engineer Mark Mahalik, he said, just give it a go, and so went with it, went through a few times, kind of got it down, and it actually came out pretty good.
Yeah, well, it definitely did. That's cool. Very cool.
It definitely had, I always have been big into Ben Folds and kind of wearing that influence very much on my sleeve there.
Sure. I picked that out a little bit. I thought it definitely had sort of a Ben Folds kind of vibe. All right, and let's let the people hear that one more time real quick. That's cool. So you were being creative in the studio as well. Didn't necessarily go in with a blueprint nailed down of exactly how the track would be arranged, but just let the creative vibes flow during the recording process too.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. It's kind of, I mean, I know you're supposed to have the song all done by the time you hit the studio, but just sometimes inspiration strikes.
Yeah, I work that way as well, and sometimes some of the coolest things come out in those moments when you're in there doing it. And while we're on the topic of keys, another part I really liked was that organ. And I really like a good organ anyway. It's, along with the electric guitar, probably one of my favorite instruments. And that was, I thought, used to a really good effect in the song. Did you have that part in mind when you went in, or was that another sort of just in a moment of inspiration, it came out in the studio?
No. I like a good organ too. My favorite's probably the liver. Second, no, just kidding. I do love organ, the instrument, and I always felt it adds a very nice texture to songs. I can't just always pick it out, but I just know when I feel like there's something. This is a part where that texture would really just sort of fill in things nicely. And I've always been a sucker for that sort of, kind of rock organ or Hammond, something along those lines. Jazz organ, they all hold a spot in my heart. And I thought it could just fill in nicely there.
Yeah. There's something just kind of authentic about the instrument, I think, with the feel of it. And yeah, it's definitely used to good effect. There. Why don't we hear that again real quick? And finally, before we wrap things here, the screaming vocal at the end. I guess one more thing, sticking with the theme of parts that I didn't see coming, but that suit the song well. That must have been fun in the studio.
Yeah, that wasn't planned, but I had a kidney stone at the time, and no, that was just me talking into the mic. No, that was, I mentioned earlier about the epicness of the chorus, and of course, naturally, I wanted the song to build throughout. And the very ending there, where the chorus kind of does that double chorus thing, repeat, building Casey's harmonies build up nicely in there, layers that a bit, and then I come in with this vocal to really, turn it up to 11, Spinal Tap style.
Sweet.
And I had an idea in my head. This is back to being bold in the studio of this screaming vocal, and it wasn't beyond my capabilities, but it was at the limit. I think like a good audio engineer is really good at seeing what people can do, and even if it seems beyond what they think they can do, really pushing people in a way. And I got pushed by a Mark in the studio. He's just said, no, you can do it, get out there, keep going. And I just shred my vocal cords, but it came out how I wanted it, which is what matters.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. And it again, suits a song well, and I think is kind of a good way to punctuate the musical journey that the track takes us on.
I was thinking about a story I heard about. This is hilarious. I'm comparing myself to the Beatles. How narcissistic can you be? But I heard this story about the Beatles recording one of their earlier tracks. I wish I could remember what it was. And it was basically John Lennon at I think it was their first album, and they had recorded it in like a day or something like that. And by the very end of the day, after singing all day, his vocals were just so gravelly, and that became the sound of that track. And it's a terrible story because I can't think of the track, but I believe it's at the end of their first album.
I think it's Twist and Shout, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is. That's it.
Yeah, I've heard that story
Twist and
as
Shout.
well.
And that's kind of how I felt at that point in the recording process. Had been recording all day, and at the time I was recording in Chicago, doing 12 or 14-hour recording days. And so this is at the end of one of those long recording days, and the voice is where it is, and it actually worked out perfectly.
Yeah, it lent itself to the character of the track. That's cool. Very cool. And so just to go back and revisit some of the lyrics in this song, because it is a lyrically interesting song too, as much as I, was taken by the sonic element and the instrumentation, some of the lyrics definitely grabbed me as well. I like the part about, I think it's, too many skeletons and loose ends and lost friends are taking over my closet space, if I heard that correctly. I thought it was cool because, skeletons in the closet, okay, that's a concept we're familiar with, but it's just a cool rhyme for one, and the way you threw in loose ends and lost friends. I like that part. I found myself kind of going over, repeating that line in my head after listening.
Too many skeletons and loose ends and lost friends are taking over my closet space.
Awesome. That's what I wanted. For you specifically to repeat that line in your head.
You heard it, folks. He wrote it for me.
Yep. And I'm complete now.
Nice.
No, I'm pretty proud of that line. The whole song is kind of coming to this point of feeling like you've been sort of shortcutting and cheating your way through life a little bit, not putting in the hard work. And what happens with that is you kind of end up with a lot of things like, loose ends of things you never really finished, losing friends along the way by not putting the work into that, and skeletons in the closet kind of. But the cadence I liked, skeletons, loose ends, lost friends, all like this imagery of a closet busting open and like opening the door and it falling on you. And just
Now you're
facing
climbing your
that.
way out of the rubble.
That's right. That's right.
Nice. Nice.
So yeah, I wanted to like a visual of all of the crap that builds up as along the way in life, and sometimes you got to open the closet and face it and clear it out.
Sure. I like that. And then I also got to mention waiting on a golden ticket, but the factory's closed. Is that a Willy Wonka reference?
You bet your bottom.
Awesome.
Yes. I try to throw a Willy Wonka reference into every song somewhere along the way.
Good. Well, the song took us in a lot of places, including, Willy Wonka. Awesome.
Yeah, that's also the idea of trying to get somewhere a golden ticket. You just get handed that, and there you are, you win. That doesn't happen in life mostly. Sure. And then later on, the lyric, a golden child, complacent and tarnishing over time. So I like that. I like the, golden theme, but then also, tarnished. So it's imperfect, I guess. That lyric, that's ironic you say that, because that lyric's imperfect, because I don't know if you know this, but gold doesn't tarnish.
But I know now.
I really wanted to use that line of the golden child, so I kept it, and any chemistry nerds can call me out.
Sure. All right. Well, it's been an informative podcast in multiple ways now. All right, and that's a wrap. Thank you for tuning in to The Weekly Noodle, the official podcast of Spaghetti Records. Join us next Monday for more behind-the-scenes action. And until then, I'm Bill. Keep it saucy, Noodleheads. Skeletons and loose ends and loose friends.
Lost friends?
Lost friends. What did I say? Loose friends.
Yes.
You hung out with me back then, so
That's true. As loose as they come.
The Weekly Noodle is the official podcast of Spaghetti Records. All audio materials herein are hereby property of Spaghetti Records and relevant subsidiary parties. Trademark, copyright, secret recipe. Unauthorized duplication of authorized noodles is uncouth, rude, and generally frowned upon. The Weekly Noodle is made possible through listeners like you.